And welcome back for the final time tonight. And look, if you missed the very first game, it was close until it wasn't, which is certainly a phrase we've used in the past here, Tele. But I think this one certainly upholds that statement a fair bit, right? Because there were a lot of close occasions. Yes, Israel got so far ahead, but that whole situation in the bot lane very easily could have gone the side of Antic.
Yeah, and I think that, looking at the roster changes, I think that we kind of, or I ticked my boxes that I thought would happen. I think that Raze had a good performance in the mid lane, even though he was playing against a champion that, shouldn't be too familiar against. Still an 80 carry versus 80 carry matchup, and I thought that is where he would shine, so he did very well there. Foreigner also, showcasing himself on that AP jungler, did a very good job in the early game to make sure that he was, in the correct place at the correct time. Wasted some time in the bot lane, but that's just a bit of a snowball from what happened early on in the game. And Zornis just, blind picked it very good by himself in that, hard matchup. I think that if there was a different case of what happened in the bot lane, if Antic do want to play something that can have a bit more aggression in bot lane and really, play to Draku's strengths, might be a different showing this time.
I think so, yeah, and as we see, the sides have flipped around, so this time Grand Zero get to play from the blue side. A lot of those bans do remain the same. The adaptation this time will be that Grand Zero banned away the Brom. They've let the Rumble go through and said, you know what, we think that the Zyra is a little bit more of an issue. The Tristana also being left up, and they've actually said, you know what, both of our mid laners are probably the best in the league at this champion, so we need to guarantee it for ourselves.
Is this just going to be a Corki handshake, or is there something special that, Raze wants to play into this one? Because I don't think that, like the Lucians or the Ezreals do too well into the Tristana. You kind of get muscle checked a bit, and Corki's the only champ who can really, rush those tabbies and trade that, major spell in the Phosphorus Bomb for the explosive shot in the trades, and can really match up to Tristana's strength in the mid lane.
Well, there's the Sejuani. We've been calling out for it for such a long time. Haven't seen it in the top lane like we've seen elsewhere in the world. We've only seen it once. All in the jungle, and that was a loss. It has been seen so much globally that you're thinking surely now is the chance to see it back in action. Foreigner has played it before, certainly is in his wheelhouse as he returns back to his conventional playstyle. It does bring into question, what does the rest of the comp look like? Are we thinking, the Yones, the Alistairs, and onwards we go? Because the response here from Grand Zero is, well, the Leona worked for us, why change?
Yeah, even though we are seeing the Sejuani scheme, I don't think there's going to be that AD, like the Yone coming out of Raze. Doesn't really fit what I would consider his wheelhouse. I think it's going to be, either they're looking at another 80 carry right now, or it will be an Ezreal flex going towards mid lane. But, with this being, the Corki still being left up, it's what I expect to be locked in right now.
It would seem to be, the highest percentage of them all, as he just looks to try and taunt us and, showcase all the champions that he won't play. And in the end, say, you know what, you've just had a little bit more breathing room, casters, to talk about this Corki. So, yeah, it's an exciting moment for them. Obviously, the Lilia comes out to play again. The last 3 games before tonight's series, that was the champion that they've locked in on the side of Grand Zero. So, certainly one that they find themselves very, very comfortable with.
And, looking at the first three champs that Grand Zero have locked in, I would consider this their, apex comp. I think that this is their best champ on all of their players, but I'm not sure the Lilia functions extremely well into what Antic have shown. I think Sejuani is a very unique case as a tank jungler. She can be played into these mage junglers like the Brand, like the Zyra, like the Karthus, because you don't need to dive into these champions. You throw out the ult, it lands, people die. It misses, you don't have to dive in skimming because, you're still playing from range, you're still quite safe, and you do win these skirmishes very hard in the early game, especially paired with these melee champs, which will probably come out of Zornis in the top lane.
Well, that's what you'd be expecting. The Jax has been denied away from him so far. You're thinking, what else is on the cards? Are they still concerned about the possibility of a Skarner, for instance? Or are we really now leaning towards some of his craziness, which is things like the Rumble, the Kennen, and maybe a few others? That is the question. Ashe gets denied for the 2nd game in a row, and the Kaiser is the latest one to join it if they want to try and prevent all this poke and engage.
Yeah, I'm very... is it going to be Lemus running the Zeri in response this game? Flip the matchup, but do have the Leona themselves, so might be able to bridge that, early game power difference we do see between the Ezreal and the Zeri in the Leona. And is this going to be another Lawless coming out of Draku, or is it going to be something else that he wants to play this time?
Well, Northa certainly has been his go-to. Certainly has played the difference between the Braum and an Alistair based on, am I blocking projectiles, or do I want to be a little bit more aggressive? He's not afraid to tech into some of these other champions if called upon, but seems to be the case that, the Braum was denied. That's what they were looking to try and go for, so Alistair will just have to settle for.
Yeah, and this is kind of a funny pick, Skimmy, because you think of like the all-time Alistar players in Oceania. I think that Dracu and Destiny might be our two best cow players of all time. So it's really funny that they're playing bot lane together right now with this champion. You know, not a champion who is really good at abusing Ezreal strengths, because we always think that Alistar's level 1 is not a very good... It's not really good, especially into Leona. You can match the, Zenith Blade Headbutt trade on the 80 carries to make sure there's no follow-up onto your 80 carry, but just not going to have that same presence in the level 1 that we saw from the Ground Zero side. And with Jinx being locked in, Lemus knows there is no early game presence coming out of the Antic bot lane. He can lock in any greedy pick he wants, and he's gone for the Jinx, which is just this ultra scaling pick. Is very scary to look at for an Antic player right now.
Just really tells them, good luck locking me down, because we have a Jinx, we have a Tristana, we have scaling, we have mobility, and if we find one kill, we really do get to run away with it. You're getting excited, you're rocket jump resetting. It's a little bit too easy for them to work their magic. We talked about this Cassandre before. Generally speaking, Zoranis has gone for this off the Twisted Fate. I mentioned to him, are we going to see some Zeri? Maybe that's a champion they'll keep. Okay. Oh, the Gnar! Wow.
Okay, yeah, I was very scared if the Twisted Fate was locked in there, because there would have been 380 carries, no AP damage into a Cassandre Leona. You are not doing damage. Whereas Gnar does have a bit of that mixed damage. He still is going to do primarily AD, and I'm very scared. When I look at Ground Zero's side, they have pretty much what I would consider an Apex champ in every single role, plus the ability to stack armor. We might see the Frozen Heart Rush coming out of Kurak or Tien, and just being unkillable to the damage output coming out of the Antic side.
Yeah, look, there's certainly a situation in which Ground Zero could run away with this one very, very quickly, but I think it's very hard to overlook the fact that we've been screaming, calling out for the Gnar, wanting more Sejuani gameplay. Exactly what we're going to get, right? If the Braum was up and available, I think they have so much lockdown, they can really absorb anything along the lines of like a Leona going in, a Cassandre, a Lilia looking to try and find something at least before the Zhonya's is up and available. Is to be denied, is to be the case. But I think Antic certainly have a lot more of a coordinated assault this time, as opposed to individual components having to try and work their magic.
Yeah, and I think that Antic's comp, whereas I would say they get outscaled just because they are so one-dimensional in their damage and the fact that the enemy can stack armor quite comfortably. They do have really good skirmishing. They do have a lot of early game power to be able to, blow this game out of proportion. We see there could be potential dives onto the bot lane with the Unbreakable Will on Dracu. There could be skirmishes in the real with, Ezreal, Sejuani, Gnar, all really good at these early game fights. But what I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like if Shern does want to, invade chickens level 1, split the map. He can completely take over the game if he wants to, because Foreigner on the Sejuani, whereas he is good at skirmishing, does not have that same power at level 1 that Lilia does.
Certainly doesn't. And will we see anything take place at the level 1 mark is the question, as everybody looks to deploy on the map. And at this stage, fan out in a 5-man rotation. Fun fact for you at home, the last time we did see the Gnar was in fact actually played by Zoranis, all the way back dating to Split 1 of this year in the playoffs. Nearly 4 months to the day. So all swings and roundabouts. The fashion comes back, and he's ready to rock and roll.
I go, dude, he's using my skin as well. Purple Chroma Dino Gnar, if I saw that correctly. I remember that was my skin back in the day, Skimmy, back when I was a top laner. So, nice to see the flag is being carried on, as it is one of the goated Gnar skins. A lot of the skins that come out now just don't have that same, aura to them. Dino Gnar is a classic.
Wow, and I love that the observers have done this as well. The observers are already aware. It's like, we're talking about skins. Let's talk about mid lane, and let's continue to talk about you having this really big affinity to hating this one.
I just don't. This is not an auto-attacking Corki skin. But to be fair, last game he did run, Earthrider Corki, and because he didn't win, you cannot run the same skin back-to-back if you lost in it, right? You got to change it up, change the dynamic of the game, and even though this is the AP iteration of Corki, good to see that he has changed the skin up, and he feels that he's got those fresh kicks on.
He's ready to go. Yeah, that's it. Clean shoes, ready to rock and roll, and he's going to have to certainly look to trade fire with fire here. As Fido's going to show no signs of backing away from this one. And I'm curious to sort of see how this matchup will fare compared to that of the Akshan. Are we expecting to see almost a very similar situation here where it's a bit of a skill check?
A lot more trading in this matchup, especially from the Tristana side. You always want to be jumping in because Corki does outrange you with the Phosphorus Bomb, like as we can see in this trade here. If Fido isn't jumping onto him with that, WE, as you do see from his skill levels, actually he does have the QE. So if this trade does extend, it is nice for him, but, range advantage will go to Corki. We see Raze just eking him out, and this is one of the problems with running Bone Plate in the Corki. It is so easy to proc with so many spells, and there's going to be a sustain advantage and a health advantage and an XP advantage.
That's certainly what it is at this stage. We're not even taking stock of anybody else in the map. We're just locked in, watching a 1v1 take place. Flash and auto, and in the end, nothing comes of it. You're a bit confused by that one. Maybe a few question mark pings on the map, both smiling about how it's taken place. But now a massive beacon of come gank my lane. This mid laner has no flash.
Yeah, well played by Raze, but Fido finds a little bit of a trade for what looked like a very doomed lane. Does get to level 3 first because the wave was pushing away from him. There was more minions being killed on the enemy side, so he does get level 3 first. Splashes over the phosphorus bomb, is able to trade flashes, but Raze is gonna be able to base and get a much better buy than he is. We already see Fido going for the cloth down because he feels like his lane is in quite a dire position right now.
Yeah, needs to make sure that he can get himself through this one. Given they put so many resources towards this, they first picked the Tristana. They forgot about the idea of locking in a rumble. Wasn't even banned. And it has been a staple for such a long time. That wasn't the focus here. Both top laners opting for the bruises. Are there any concerns about a lack of AP damage? Perhaps, yes, there's a lot of hybrid AP damage, but is there any concern that they don't have an outright AP, much like the Lilia?
Oh, always. I think that if you're one-dimensional in your style, you're kind of forced to get a lead if the game state does, end up being even. If both teams play these team fights equally well, you just aren't doing the same damage output. When these Ezreal Qs start landing onto the K'Sante, there's not going to do any damage because all of a sudden he has 3 armor items, he has a Frozen Art against 3 auto attackers. He's a bit of a brick, Skinny.
He is, and it almost makes me wish it was like a Maokai jungle, perhaps, right? You get the Leandries, you've got a little bit of AP to work around, but you can still function like a tank. I mean, I don't know if there's ever a world in which you want to go AP jungle Sejuani. That might be a little bit too far-fetched, but certainly maybe some concerns about what happens if we do fall behind again, and yeah, they can just build cloth armor for days. Let's see what takes place, though. Checking with top lane, and as to be expected of a Gnar in the mini form, incredibly annoying, very fast. Once you get to Mega, though, you probably have the most HP in the game.
Yeah, but I also wanted to touch on the bot lane scheme. We saw that Antic bot lane was able to force Lemus to back with the Frozen Wave, but they decided to break the freeze to get a better buy onto Destiny, which is probably going to be that tier Sheen recall against Double Longsword, which is going to be very, very good for him. Oh, it's going to be Double Longsword again because we can't afford Sheen's ever skivvy. It's been the same buy every single game we've seen from all these Ezreals. But, nice to see that this bot lane has had a different dynamic or a different look, We're expecting to see another domination happening in the bot lane, but just a much better job by the Antic side to be able to create a lead on what we consider was a very hard matchup for them.
Absolutely. So it's a vote of confidence that you can play this well into that Lemus, aggressively jumping forward. Both junglers in the area. That's the reason why Fido is playing so aggressively. The bowling ball connects. The swell of the mace gets it done for first blood. And Foreigner saying, well, I can answer back, surely. And yes, he does. With the passive finally stacked up, both junglers are on the ball. Now, they might hunt for a little bit more, but unfortunately for Foreigner, he's been out-rotated as Kurek gets there just a fraction quicker than Draku.
I was surprised that Kurek was able to get here before Draku because, we saw Kurek holding the bot wave, whereas Draku had that recall thanks to them, finding the first base over the support because he was there to hold that wave for Lemus to make sure he got all the resources. But, good job by the Ground Zero support to be mid to back up his jungler, and just another classic that we see of this team playing so well for each other, enabling each other, and bailing Fighter out of a really bad scenario.
It certainly seems to be the hallmark of a great team, right? Is the ability for supports to read the map, understand the flow of things, and know when they can afford to leave their AD carry and when they need to group up with the rest of the team to heal and protect. Nice little pulverize combo there from Draku. Locks in place too. Nothing to really come of it as a result, though. A little bit of chip damage that could favor Destiny, but Foreigner's going to turn his attention towards those very first spawns of the grubs. Meanwhile, Schoenfire here to hover, here to protect, guarantee the Scuttler, and perhaps look at the Dragon after.
Yeah, and we do see the tabbies being completed as well by Fido, whereas they are not, a good item into Corki because a lot of his damage is front-loaded in his spells, not his auto-attack. It's just nice for Tristana to have this game because you are versing, 3 auto-attacking champions, and you're going to be able to mitigate a lot of that damage in these skirmishes. And once again, I was talking about how Schoenfire can really put the foot on the pedal and take over the game because in his 1v1, he is, much more comfortable than the Sedge. So he is going for that invade, is trying to split the map and make sure that Lemus is as comfortable as possible to scale up this game.
Certainly seems to be the case, doesn't it? That keep them back, make sure that the Alistair aggression is stemmed for the meantime. No funny business where the Ezreal gets to push their lead. Both this time opting for the cleanse. No TP shenanigans this time around. Not that we really got to we didn't really see too much to come off the triple TP versus the 2 in the last game, but to be expected, right? When you are playing the hyper carry, you want to make sure you got everything at your disposal so you can 1v9.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is just going to be very, very even game state in the early game. The lanes that are counter-picked do have leads, but we are seeing the dive onto the top side, and will DN be able to buffer this?
Well, he's going to jump on in. He's going to get cracked by the rocket as well from downtown. It's going to be the first kill going the way of Tien. They've taken down the jungler to be ganked. Oh, and a flash forward to try and catch him off guard there with that third and Tofo strike. If they'd found that, I tell you what, Tien really would have solidified himself as the GOAT right there. Is to be denied, but it's a nice little indication as to how this matchup can play out.
You won't believe it, Skimmy, but Tien apparently does have hands, Is able to time the Pathmaker. Pretty much the dive interaction there was if he gets his Pathmaker off before the, the Na ult comes out or the Sejuani ult, he will win that dive, and if not, he will get one shot. So, he does find the Pathmaker to be able to buffer the CC, lands the double stun off to both members, pair that up with the all-out into the second, reset of the W, and it's a very easy outplay from there.
Ah, tally. We were so close to the perfect stream. The perfect day. We had avoided plagues of pauses all night long. And then in the dying hour, in the final game of the night, we are blessed with one. Maybe it's just contractually obligated. We must showcase that our internet sucks, and that you must tune in. Maybe for those at home that are watching and they're lagging, maybe it gives you a chance for your internet to catch up too.
Maybe there is no connection problems, Gimme, and they just want to hear us talk about just nonsense.
True. Maybe we don't even want to talk about the game anymore. We can just go completely off script, not knowing what it's about, not knowing how long it's going to be for, and not really knowing when we're going to get back in. I mean, what do we want to talk about? What would you like to talk about?
I don't know. Yeah, it's raining a lot and it's cold, and I hate that, Skivvy.
It is.
Terrible.
You tell me, having only been in Australia for 4 years, is this one of the coldest winters you've experienced?
Yeah, I say it's getting up there. I am moving around quite a bit every couple of years, and we do keep moving into valleys and away from warm areas. So it is getting quite cold.
Not making it easy for yourself then to try and avoid those chilly conditions. I'll tell you what though, if I were to go back to New Zealand, even colder there. So good luck to me. I think I've been a little bit too acquainted to the Sydney heat. In such a case, I'm almost like, where is that 40-degree weather? I do kind of miss it. Yeah, I'll burn in 5 minutes, but that's beside the point. We're back into the game. Thank you for listening to Storytime with Skimmy and Tally. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a whole lot from our ramblings, but we're back to business. We get to witness what takes place here, and we get to see that yet again, we're in a very close, even game state.
You're already seeing Iron Spikes come out of Foreigner right now, and he is, piling towards the bot side here, so I think that Antic will be quite happy to match this fight if the Dragon is pulled right now. Even though Raze doesn't have much mana to himself, does have that cookie. Shownfire could get caught out on the Dragon, especially with the the lockdown coming out of Foreigner, but doesn't have access to that glacial prison yet. So curious to see if this is something they do want to contest for, as Dracu doesn't have that level 6 as well. So they are playing on time to be able to find a little bit of advantage, but this could be a fight they do want to take, Skinny.
Yeah, 6 fan now on vision. The collapse is beginning, and it's not going to be stolen away on this occasion, but a fight will break out. Limus instant flashed away, showing respect. No birdie on him, but it's a triple sleep. That is disgusting to be cleansed out of, and to be immune from the Alistar ult. The stun connects, Shownfire still living. Get him down! How is Bambi still prancing around in this jungle? I'll never quite know. Blast Cone actually really saves that Raze on that occasion. And just look how low everybody is. It's a surprise that not more, but just a couple fell down.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there with the Blast Cone, but I think he might have flashed over to get the auto attack as the Buster Shot did come out, so it knocked him back as he took the Blast Cone. Instead of sending him up in the air, he went flying away. But surprised that was only a, I believe, 1-for-1 Skimmy. It looked like that would have been a very, very nice fight for Ground Zero with, the 3-man sleep coming out. But Race just didn't have the resources to be able to take that one over, but if he does land his phosphorus bomb, this might be a kill for himself.
Ooh, very, very close. Certainly a lot of aggression found there with the home guard TP to good use to rock up to the lane and make sure that you send Fido right back from where he came from. Let's run it back on this replay initially.
Yeah, so we do see, Antic initially going onto Shownfire. The Q Flash from Dracu does not land, but the triple sleep does. But, Cleanse being there for the Ezreal, the Unbreakable Will for the Alistar, can absorb so much of the damage, but it took so long for the members to be able to take him down, but coming out of the replay into another fight, Skinny.
That we certainly are, and it's a connection of so much damage. In the end, it's Destiny that snipes her all the way from downtown bot lane.
Oh.
Might actually die as a result of that one, unless the tower can help, but no, getting excited really does just that. and bails you out of a pretty dire spot.
Yeah, curious how that one actually happened, if that was, you know, Destiny not looking at his screen and getting picked off, but Antic's still going to find the grubs what they really want. Really nice buffer from Fido there, which is a hard one to react to in the Alistair combo.
Yeah, certainly is, but a master on the champion may have versed that umpteen times before, has the steady hands, has the confidence, the self-belief to make it matter when it does count on these stage games. Let's run it back one more time, because it initially starts with Destiny being down to 50% when he cast that ult.
Yeah, so he's already just getting chunked out.
Oh.
Oh no, yeah, doing the classic, like, I landed my W, I need to E here, but, you know, Lima's just spacing him out, walks him down the line and picks himself up a very easy kill for himself. You know, consolation prize for Destiny was his ult did pick up the kill there, so, you know, he is, you know, not too far behind Lima. It's just going to be the CS lead that we are seeing right now. But, you know, looking at the inventories right now, we are seeing Triforce components from both carries of Antic, and when those do come online, this is when they will spike, because there is just not going to be the same power coming out of a Kraken from both the members of Ground Zero.
Absolutely, yeah. A massive spike at the same time certainly would lend them the perfect timing, and it could actually work out phenomenally with the next spawning of the Dragon, certainly with the next coming of that Herald. And with 6 stacks of the Void Grubs as well, if they get any opportunity late game when the respawn time is of 30 seconds and counting, towers are gone.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They're just gone, especially when you have, you know, access to all these grubs. This is probably one of the win conditions of this team. Even though they are, you know, full AD, they do have these winning side lanes in the Gnar versus the Cassandre. So if Zornis does get a little bit of a window into the 1v1 on TN, especially since he has gone for that Zeeks, which is, you know, a team fighting option. Very cheap item, gives you the armor and MR, and that AoE slow, so it's just a very nice item to have in the early game. Since it is so cheap, gives you a bit of combat power in the early game where you can bridge, you know, that major downtime for the champion, and it's just a nice item to have overall. And I think that, you know, we are seeing it being picked up a lot by, you know, champs like Olaf, even Foreigner has it this game. Just champs who can really just get in there, who need a bit of resistances, and just this cheap item to make them come online.
But that's it. Both sides having it up and available for them certainly could be the difference in you know, obtaining the perfect amount of uptime for these AD carries to work their magic. You mentioned before, 2 Trinity Forces could be the big turning point in the game that could favor Antic's you know, projection back into this one. And certainly would like to see it be that case with the 30 seconds now on that major objective spawning. All about that wave clear now, all about priming yourself for the perfect reset to get in the right spot at the right time and prevent any kind of crazy shenanigans with face-checking brushes. Both supports in the area hovering, or waiting, just seeing, testing the waters. And then some pings actually from the Antic side to say, let's play towards bot side, let's punish this Jinx.
Ooh, we do see Lima's muscling out Destiny there, but I think that Destiny, with his item advantage, had the 1v1 to be able to push him out. Shunfire is coming around though. Destiny does have access to the cleanse, but, you know, no arcane, does have the arcane shift back now. No flash for himself, so if it is committal from Shunfire there, it's just going to be the trade of the ult for the cleanse. But I don't expect Ground Zero to want to contest this Dragon, just based on what we're seeing in the inventories right now, Skinny.
So would seem to be the case right there. Nice stun up from Kirak, making sure that Draco doesn't find himself the perfect headbutt pole. Gonna slowly clear out the vision at Ground Zero had planted beforehand, take back control of the river, and then actually instantly stun up this Dragon. Nobody has an idea from Antic, or rather from Ground Zero's side. Antic certainly do, because they're the ones doing it, but as a 3-man squad, they'll complete it in a heartbeat. And Raze with the first move to leave mid.
Yeah, double Krakens picked up on the recall there, so, you know, both members from Ground Zero, both carries, can, you know, match up to some of the DPS that they need to do in the game right now. But Triforce is just an overall stronger item, going to be better in these skirmishes, and Draco's just going to get poked out a bit by Shunfire here, and just, you know, trade the headbutt. Try walk it off, but a lot of health he's going to be missing here, Skimmy.
He's going to lose a lot of health in the process. And look, he might actually just turn it around on them and say, it's a bait, it's a trap, you thought I was low, watch this. Out goes the Glacial Prison, and Shunfire no longer for the world. Unfortunately, both the AD carries with those Triforce spikes are the ones that pick up all the gold.
Yeah, and, you know, TP coming out of there from Zornis. Ult is coming out, going to go wide. Raze isn't, you know, committing the teleport to the top. They value the mid turret more than the top tower here. You know, could have thrown his TP up to the top side to be able to get that wave to make sure no trade was happening, but wants to keep his top tower up in health, mid tower up and healthy to make sure that, you know, the map doesn't get blown open quite yet. Is going to be, you know, probably committing the teleport to the top now because Destiny isn't in mid lane. He is able to catch all this farm, and, you know, we see the inventory, Skimmy. It's looking extremely, extremely good for Antic right now, even though we are still seeing the gold lead slightly in favor of Ground Zero. It's in the jungle position, and if Shunfire is going to be the one to fall down, as I mentioned, is easy to lock up, you know, thanks to the CC from the Alistair and the Sejuani. These two carries will blow the champ up.
And I think it was a really good play there from Draku, quite honestly. Looked like he was just going to get slowly whittled on down, falls back to his tower, and the fight was going to work against him. But says, you know, enough is enough. It's my turn to turn it around, and ultimately gifted them a phenomenal little team fight victory. I'm curious, though, without knowing all the math behind it, at what point the crit scalers of you know, the Tristana and Jinx start to take over, whether or not that be the second item with 50% crit to their name or not. Because as it stands, I'm sure Antic are chopping at the bit to say, let's fight, 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 whilst it's still even.
I don't think there's like a clear point in the game until, like, I don't know, I would consider like Bloodthirst, or when lifesteal items start coming through, is when you can, you know, eat up the Ezreal's damage and not really care too much about it, and just, you know, pretty much just stand and deliver against the champion. But until that point, I always got to give it in favor of the champions who just have this front-loaded kit, especially paired up with CC. You know, Schoenfire, if he does get hit by that Sejuani ult, if there is, you know, the WR coming out of Destiny, there's going to be so much damage onto these crucial members, and Fido might be caught out of position if Draken wants to go for this dive.
Certainly could be. Out goes the headbutt Pulverize, but buffered once again, spacing it out. Auto. This time going to be locked in place because there is the Pulverize, and they're gifting it across to Zoranis, and that's the opportunity then for Granzo to try and fight in the mid lane instead. One kill goes their way to sleep onto Folders, not to be enough, and look at those blinking health bars. If only there was a true shot barrage now.
Oh, that was extremely close. Have to see that one in a replay of what really happened there. We do see the flash being on cooldown from Ray, so I expect that was a really nice engage from the Ground Zero members to punish him on the mid lane. Very, very quiet, you know, top lane performances right now, but, you know, do go onto the replay here. This tower is very low, and this might have been a bit of an overextension from Antic to really defend this one, as we do see the stun does land, even though the Valkyrie goes north. So it's just, you know, very, very nice pickup by Kirak there, and just very, very close. Almost a trade for the Antic members there.
That hurts, doesn't it? That's a case of regret where you're like, I wish I started with the Flash and the Valkyrie afterwards, given that all the right moves were done, but the sequence of events meant that you were still locked in place, and that's all Kirak needed to book his ticket to take him down. Still, very quiet on the kill front. Only 11 kills in 18 minutes of gameplay so far. Certainly is a story of two teams highly regarded at the top of the table. Nothing really blowing wide open, and as you mentioned just before, you know, a very quiet game for Tien. Yes, he's had a brilliant little bit of magic when the camera has been on him, but very content just to push up that top wave, farm up, get his items, and you know, be a contender when the true 5v5s begin.
Yeah, not quite in the sense where he's not having a performance. He's just, you know, doing his job as the person who blind picked and got himself in the unfavorable matchup. You know, being able to stay even in the farm and being able to muscle out Nah on the silent in this 1v1, especially when you do not have these, you know, combat items that you would think of in the Frozen Fist, you know, going for that support item where you're not going to get value unless you throw out that ulti. Still winning out the 1v1 is very good, you know, sights for Ground Zero right now.
So it is really good sights. Both junglers find each other in the Antic side of the map. Actual Glacial Prison committed from Frona there, thinking they may have just had the jump on towards Schoenfire. It wasn't to be, though. The damage profile, not enough from that of an Ezreal without an ultimate. He gets to live another day. Thankfully for him, Schoen's flash wasn't up and available. Will be now, but it could have been a very scary situation otherwise.
Yeah, and I think that this game state is very, very nice for Ground Zero. You know, do have it. Well, I think this is one of their strengths. Give me, they always seem to have priority in all their lanes, regardless of what is going on in the game. But Antic are walking in without that ult on Foreigner right now.
There is Draku starting things off. Two-man Pulv lands it, locks it down, but against Rooted in place by the Jinx, Chompers gets put to sleep now as a result, and without the Indomitable Will is not long for this world. Tien on the flank trying to hold off Zoranis, flashes forward, but doesn't get hit by the Entofo strikes, beautifully spaced out there by Zoranis on that occasion. But the damage is already being done. Both supports have fallen on down, and this is the story of these fights, isn't it? It's just very slim pickings.
Yeah, trade of supports in the skirmish right now, but that will be the Dragon picked up for Ground Zero, and look at the jungle, Skinny. Look at what is happening. A 3-level lead for Schoenfire. You know, was falling down in all these team fights, but, you know, when the downtime was happening, he was picking up all these camps. He is invading consistently, stealing away as much as he can. And he already has himself 2 items in those, you know, double burn items, which is so crucial. And he's picked himself up a 3-level lead.
Yeah, he's massive, absolutely. And no doubt once Leandri's comes, or rather Zhonya's comes online, going to be pretty hard to take on down. Frona, though, I'm sure once he gets that Warbox complete, probably thinks, you know what, I'm full build. Doesn't really matter if I'm behind this much. I can bait the Baron, I can, you know, empower with extra lockdown from the Zeeks. Job well done. Fighter, though, going to take an opportunity whilst nobody is there to respond, just to push out another tower. Very much the same case as it was in game 1 of always having that tower lead. And got to be concerned about that Baron attempt, and that's why Antic instantly looked towards the mid lane. They put all their attention onto Kurek. Maybe not the target they want, but that is the target they'll find. And that's not the target they needed, because in the end, it means that Jinx has all the time in the world to do as she pleases. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but with Limus getting excited, he'll find himself at double. Fido also gets to the mix and gets a kill too, and that feels rough when you're the team to engage, but the one to lose out. Yeah,
I was about to talk about how, this is Antic's time to shine. They finally have 2 items on their Ezreal and their Corki, so it's, their time to really come online. But we get to see what happens again. We see Antic going for that engage onto Kurak, blowing cooldowns onto the, the tank again, and their backline is left exposed, and Limus and, Shern are just doing so much in these team fights.
Yeah, it's a very curious case of why do we keep focusing Kurak all series long, but credit is due. They've found an opportunity, they've punished Antic, and not only have they taken a tower, they've opened up the base with an inhibitor as well, already at 22 minutes. And this is what both games have been like, right? Quiet until one small moment very late on.
Yeah, and I think that this is what Ground Zero do so well at. They're just so good at being in the right place at the right time. They only, put themselves in susceptible positions when their team is there to back them up, and we get to see Limus on the mid wave, contesting it because he knows his team is there to follow up, and there are so many crucial members from his team who are ready to clean up if he is the one to fall down.
Let's see then what it means for the scope of this one, whether or not there's any concerns that Antic are out of this, if that was the game-breaking play. Initially, it's going towards Limus. An instant flash away is the difference.
Yeah, I get the look skimmy. They want to punish the no cleanse onto Limus with the Sejuani ult, but unfortunately, there's just not an engage angle if you're coming from the front, as Kurak is there, and when that initial engage doesn't go well, you are not going to win the front to back against these crit 80 carries. A lot of your damage is front-loaded, and it needs to land.
Well, the second time for them to try and fight fire with fire is, let's look at the Baron. Can we go for the steal? No, we cannot. Frona tried to do as much as he could. Have done an effort, but not enough in the end. Too steady other hands of Schönfire. Too much is the damage of the double Kraken Slayer spec. 80 carries. And surely with this one, they look to go marching through the mid lane. So you can have the 6 Void Grubs, but what does it matter if you never get to hit a tower?
Level 15 on the Lilia, almost even as one of the highest levels in the game, but also almost 10 CS per minute on jungle right now, Skimmy. So that is a very unheard of or rare thing to see in the jungle role, but this is just what Schönfire excels at. This is what he's so comfortable doing, being put on these mage junglers, farming up a storm, and just taking over these team fights.
Level lead, Flame Horizon, name a few more accolades, add it to the pile because he's putting on a bit of a clinic so far. Draku teasing, Hex Flash open, ready to try and find what he can go after, and Kurek is the bait yet again. Instant flash away to safety. Double ults committed towards him, and Raze is there to weave in that final auto attack to do it justice. No inhibitor falls on down. Now, at least Antic answer back, but with those Baron-inspired recalls, Draku's unable to find that one.
They are chasing Skimmy, and Draku does have the inside track onto these members. There is the TP on TN if they do want to play for this, 3v3 with Destiny being there in the backside, but double pulverize.
No way. There's no way. Limus outside of the bush. Has he griefed? I think he has. That's crazy. They had no blue trinket. They had no vision. Surely they had no right picking up those kills. Ooh. And that is such a small oversight, which really pays off dividends here for Antic.
Yeah, what a cleanup for these, Antic members. They find all the gold onto the correct member as well. This is all going onto the Corki, but, he is going for the rapid fire cannon, which it could be a mistake. Skimmy doesn't have the LDR, which is going to be able to allow him to get through all the armor that's going to start coming out of all these members. But, also looking at the other side, there is no Frozen Heart happening yet, and this is probably a saving grace for the Antic side. They aren't, in that dire strait of we don't do damage to you guys yet because there's just not the armor coming out.
Certainly isn't. You look at the gold though, and it really is the Raze show at this stage. The only person close to 12k. He's got so much. As you run it down the line and see that, it really is very much Ground Zero favored. Otherwise, a second pause, unfortunately, here. As that does definitely upset the narrative. What looked like Ground Zero dotting their I's and crossing their T's, the formality of that, rush away from the base really went pear-shaped.
Yeah, but I don't think they're too worried about that. They're still in a very dominating, position. These team fights are still going to function pretty much the same. Schönfire is still going to be able to take over this game. He was sitting on so much money as well. As we do come out of the pause, like everyone can look at his inventory. He only had the double burn items as they were sieging the base, so he is sitting very pretty in this game, and he is a crucial member to carry this game, whereas the rest of his team can kind of sit back and just enjoy the power of what is happening right now in this game.
Well, we're back in, and what we see is no signs of slowing down. Tien, unfortunately, on this occasion, gets caught apart, and
That's
yeah, you
gonna
can
be
be
the
as big
dragon.
as you like, but that was the dragon that would have put them on a soul point, and yeah, not anymore.
And, you know, if they can kill the tank like that in front of the turret, in front of the, you know, Tristana, who is, you know, going to do so much damage to these members if left untouched, this might not be such a one-sided game anymore, Skimmy, and this might be aggression coming out of them again. They don't even want the dragon.
Look at Raze though, flanking as a Corki. Would you believe it? Out goes the face check. Boom! Look at that! Nah, slide stem! Up against the wall, hit as many as you can, but it makes it so easy for that lilting lullaby to land. And look at the reset city. Who's touching Limus? Absolutely nobody. He's getting excited. Fido's rocket jumping left, right, and center. In the end, he finally gets taken on down. But Shenfire showcases why he has so much farm, so many levels, and may just be the best AP jungler in the league.
I love watching Antic, Skimmy, because, you know, what do you want, Skimmy? Free dragon, you know, uncontested Infernal Dragon, very nice having all this extra damage on your carries and just buying yourself a bit more time in the game. Or burger flip tower dive on mid lane.
You're always going to take the gamble, and that's exactly what they've done here. And you just have to wonder, why?
Yeah, you know, I'll ask myself that question for a very long time, but this is what they want to do. They want to be, you know, pulling the trigger. They want to abuse the fact that Tien is still dead, but they just can't find the access onto the crucial members. And with Destiny falling down straight away, there's only one carry threat in Raze left, and he just doesn't have what he needs to be able to completely take over the game himself yet.
Well, what you're thinking was a freebie for Antic tonight to buy themselves another 5 minutes. Well, it's definitely gone against them. You're thinking, Trinity Force, make it free. We have so much damage. Surely that's enough. But if we are to believe that the item breakpoint is triple crit items with now a Bloodthirster done for Jinx, I mean, who's getting to Limus? This entire series, he's been untouchable.
Yeah, and I think this is the new the fad when it comes to the crit builds in 80 carries. Is just, you know, going for that lifesteal as a third item, because you don't really need the damage on these champs a lot of the times. You just need the ability to, you know, survive in these fights and just be able to navigate so much of this poke that comes out of members like Brand, Zyra, and anything. But Skimmy, I'm going to give it back to you because another fight's happening.
Well, so yeah, as we go in once again with a 2-man knockup. Pulverize gets it started. Glacial Prison to follow things up, but no kills to be found. A 1-man sleep onto Draco with no ultimate. Doesn't seem to matter. Out goes the Solar Flare to lock them down inside their own part of the jungle. And yet again, pure frustration here for Antic, wanting to get the jump on the opposition, unable to find the kills, unable to find the right targets, and now forced to limp back to base, down a man.
Yeah, and it's just, Grounds are pretty much just mustering them out. They're using single man Lily onto the support. You know, why can they take down Draku, but Antic can't take down Kurak in these fights? It just feels like there's just a way too much damage differential happening right now in this game.
Yeah, it's a bit of concern, and here we go one more time, looking towards Destiny. He flashes out to safety, back to the fountain, just on his doorstep. And look at those towers. The Nexus is getting more and more exposed by the day. They've taken 2 inhibitors now, both synced up at 4.5 minutes. True Shot Barrage, it just tickles them. It just merely tickles them. That's 3 items complete, but I didn't see the health bar move.
And this is one of the problems with the Ezreal, but, you know, maybe this does extend even more, Skimmy. So there's Zorinus falling down. I don't think they can finally get any more members here, but if they do want to stay around with the lifesteal, Baron is spawning. This is probably going to be a very easy pickup for them. I don't think Antic are in a position where they can really contest this one, but they might feel forced to anyway.
What it feels like, if there was the burger flip of all burger flips, this would be just that. It's going to be a Hail Mary. It's a case of if we don't do it, we may just bleed out and lose anyway, so might as well throw caution to the wind. Will they find an opportunity to even look at it? They're not even positioned in a way that would indicate they're looking for that play, and Baron will just fall on down in a heartbeat. That's the second one back to back. And this will be Grand Zero saying we've got an 8k gold lead. There is no chance.
And this is, you know, as Pyke did bring up in the cast, like, why isn't everyone as play Ezreal? Why is it, you know, just, it looks so strong, but not everyone is prioritizing it. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why he can't really itemize Armor Pen as well as other 80 carries, because, you know, going for the Sweller's Grudge doesn't get full value of the item because he doesn't itemize any lethality. If he goes for the LDR, there's a crit item in there, so, you know, he's not getting full value on the crit. Same with, you know, if he wants to go for a cleaver, this is an item that you need to stack up onto champions. It's not just going to give you that straight up front armor pen. So Ezreal he's a really good champ. But in isolation, Lemus is called out.
Lemus has been called out, and finally, they take down that pesky Jinx. Fido answers back instantly by taking down Foreigner. He's got the reset. Grand Zero are inspired. They're enraged that their AD carry has finally been taken on down. Zoran is flanking on the side, hoping, hunting.
Look at the base.
Waiting for a blast code and a flash to land that devastating 4-man slam against the wall, but it's just never coming. It is simply never coming. Grand Zero do this meticulous dance of you need to go back to your base because the Winions are simply ending the game.
And they get a tower, and this is, you know, what I keep talking about with Grand Zero. It's kind of like a Hydra scheme, you know. Even though they cut off the Lemus head, all of a sudden there's the Schoenfire head and the Fido head who are doing so much damage in this fight. So you have to take them all down at the same time, or, you know, really sear them out to make sure they can't regrow and have all these different threats from multiple angles, because if you have to blow all your resources to take down one crucial member, it's just not going to stick.
It's just not enough, as you say. The coordinated effort onto one person simply doesn't do the damage, doesn't do the justice at this point. As in jumps Zonis, he gets put to sleep. Night, bedtime, he's gone for 50. As Fido finds himself a 7th, make it 8th kill with the double kill, getting it done right now. Schoenfire unbelievably far ahead, as if he wasn't already. A rocket from one base to the other, and an ace of all aces to close out game 2.
And a triple kill picked up for Fido. You know what, Skimmy, I gotta say this was a much closer performance than game 1, even though it is quite a clean performance for Ground Zero. They did pick up the win in the end. I think that Antic with this roster swap have shown that they do have potential, and it is nice to see that it's not going to be a 2-team league anymore. I think there is some more to say from our 3rd place in Antic, and what is that going to look like going forward. But once again, well played Ground Zero. They are our secured 1st seed of the regular season, and are they going to keep this solid performance going into playoffs?
That's exactly right there, Tally. 21 points from all 21 up and available. Not a single game dropped. They've had their moments where they've been tested, but they've never shown signs of truly backing down and falling on over. It's a clean 2-0 on the night for them. As for Antic, a new squad, a new look. Some promising signs, to say the least, but playoffs could not come any sooner. That's going to do it for us tonight. Let's run it to another final break and then break down everything you saw here today.